So I've laid out here what you would generally need to carry out a first fix procedure in hard landscaping. We have an oversized shroud. Now this can just be a normal underground pipe. You can get this from any DIY store and it can be cut to whatever length you require. You're going to need just a standard hole cutter, 20mm, and a diamond dusted cutter, what we find very useful, that's 38mm. You obviously need your light, good quality stuffing glands, 20mm stuffing glands. They're going to go into the actual shroud to hold your cables or your copex. We've then got a gel box, a nylon tie, and in this example we're going to use SY cable because it's lightly braided, 3 cores, and that's our preferred method. We obviously use it as a 12-volt cable. Or you can, if you wish, use your 20mm copex, just a standard contractor pack, and bring your rubber cables through that. So now we need to set our actual measurements. Now this can be a wall or fence. In this particular case it's a pillar. Going to find the centre of the pillar, very important. We try and keep this stuff centralised. And then we actually want to try and visualise where the collar's going to go. And we always work, rule of thumb, it can change, but rule of thumb is 120mm to the centre of your light. We've put these bricks down to show us the actual bottom of the paved area. We put our collar in central to the pillar. We will measure off our 120mm, and at this point we have to ensure that the top of this collar is below the top of this brick. That is the bottom of your paving slab. So here you can see the collar, it's actually been moved down to the correct height, and we've now got to actually get the cables fitted, and in this particular case we're going to be coming in and out, so this is going to be a loop through light. Here we are, here's the glands. These have been fitted at the top of the collar. These are very good quality 20mm stuffing glands. You can go for something like Whisker, they do a really good gland. We sit it in to the ground, the cable comes in and the cable will go out again, so that's all prepped, ready for the cable. And don't forget, just to double check that the top of your collar is down below the underside of your paving slab. So now we've stripped our SY cable. Don't forget this is being used as 12-volt. Most important thing here, just have a double check to ensure that none of the cables are damaged at this point. We're going to use 2 cores. It gives us a 3rd core as a spare in case we need to use it. But this is quite an important part of the process. So our cables are now in place. Now we're just going to double check, because the collar can quite easily be moved because you're taking the collar in and out of the ground. But double check we're in the centre. Double check that we're 120mm off to the middle, which is ideal. It's quite important that these checks are done. You don't want to come back afterwards and find that the collar's slightly in the wrong place. You can then backfill with your type 1. If there's no type 1 available and you're going, say, onto a hard concrete surface, we would normally haunch this over just with some sand and cement to keep the collar in place. The most important thing is you want to ensure that you do in fact strip this outer sheath off. That's quite important, and you want to make sure that you've got enough slack above the paving. As you can see, this cable is very long. It would be no good if this cable was only 2 inches long. It would be very, very difficult to get out of that hole and actually do your electrical connection. So, you know, if you cut the cable here, for example, it'd be very difficult for you to do your electrical connections once you've drilled your hole at a later stage. So always keep the cables nice and long. Curl them up very neatly, get them tucked in. We don't want the cables coming over the edge of the shroud that can get pinned when the slab's laid. Also very important at this point, get your tape back out again, take some photographs, whereabouts these are placed off the pillar, dimensions, and get that sent off to a WhatsApp group that you create. That way, even if you come back in 3 months, you're going to have all the relevant photographs and measurements.
It's centre of the block, 150 out, first cable across, 150 off.
Another important thing to stress here, this collar must be kept clear. So no bags in that collar, no plastic in that collar, no cement in that collar. Just have a word with the contractor on site and just ensure they keep that collar nice and clear, because it will be very helpful later on. So now here we go, we come back, the paving's down, double check our central point, just strike a nice datum point through there. so we've got a nice straight line, no mistakes are going to be made. And we need to then double check that we're 120mm off the surface, which as you can see we are. We're marking that up for a central point. We're then going to use our hole cutter. Now in this particular case, it's going to be a diamond dusted cutter. We get these from Screwfix, they do them in various sizes. For the 2-watt uplight, this is a 38mm cutter. Goes into any standard 12-volt drill, and we want to just make sure we cut it with water, so just dribble some water on it as you're cutting. So our guys carry this template, very simple to make. You can make them up for all the uplights. 38mm speed bit straight through a piece of wood gives you this nice template, just to give you a bit of support when you initially start drilling. You can then place this directly over your cross and get ready to do your drilling. Here we are. So the drill is now in place. You now want to start your drilling. Once you're down 2 or 3mm, you can actually take the wooden former away and carry on drilling. The drill will guide itself into the hole at this point. Don't forget, please, just keep adding water. Makes the cutting process so much quicker. So here we are, the hole's now been cut out nice and clean, no breaks. That's the good thing about these diamond dusted cutters. Very important, again, must reinforce the fact this hole or your shroud must be kept clear, because at this point you're going to be taking the cables out and you don't want any bags or paper bags or cement that's in the way. We use a very simple brick tie. We carry these in the van. You can just bend over one end, makes a really good hook, and all we simply do then is just take the cables straight out. Always have a count up. I've got one missing there, so back in, get that final cable out. We've now got our positive and negative in and out, and we've also got a spare, which is really good. So here's Tom, he's one of our top installers, going to be fitting the 2-watt uplight. Any uplight from Nitelux, always ensure the top's nice and tight. We're then going to strip back round about 200 mil of cable, and what we then want to do is take off the outer black shroud. Now this might be a little bit tricky for you non-electrician people, but you'll have plenty of offcuts. Just have a little bit of a practice first. You don't want to cut right through the black and the red on the light fitting. We strip this off so that it gives us far more flexibility when putting the actual light fitting in the hole. What he's doing now, he's now stripping off the ends of all these cables. So that's both the reds, which are positive, and both the blacks, which are negative, and he will twist those together, snip them off so they're about 1 centimetre long. And we do exactly the same on the incoming cables. So here's the brown, which is our positive. Strip the ends off. Exactly the same for the blue, which is our negative. Strip the ends off. He will then just twist those up so that they're not going to fray when you go on to the next stage. These are not twisted together, these are set individual. We don't need the spare one, so that can be tucked away for later use if need be. And we're now going to use our gel crimps. These can be bought from any good electrical wholesaler. You can buy them on Amazon. 3-way gel crimps. We always do the in and out cables on the 2 outside holes, and in our doubled up, positive goes in the middle hole. These are filled with gel so that when you crimp down, a metal bar will actually make contact across all cables and the gel oozes out and gives you 100% waterproof connection. Now he will do that again on the second one. Takes a little bit of practice, but it only takes a couple of minutes. We then back this up. You haven't got to at this point, but we do. We back this up with another gel-filled box. Again, get these from any good electrical wholesalers. It clicks shut. When that clicks shut, that will give you another waterproof membrane that covers those gel crimps. And then just to ensure that doesn't open, we just like to just give it a nice final secure with our nylon tie. There you are, all nice and neat. This conveniently gets pushed straight down in a hole. Another good reason why we use an oversized collar. All this can go down. Don't forget, when using up lights in paving, you don't actually use the collar that the light comes with. And there we go, pushes the light down, and there's your light fitting. Get the name nice and level. All these little details matter if you've got a row of them. And there's the 2-watt uplight fitted.